Video guys going. There's my video guys. There's my radio guys. Everything's rocking and rolling here on Trash Talking Tuesday. Excuse me. Welcome to the show. Every time I get in here, I get the hums. Welcome to the show, Paul K. Lemire, your city, your voice on 4680Q. Like I said, Trash Talking Tuesday on this April 15th, which is day in history, infamous day in history when the Titanic sank. We'll talk about that for a minute. And we got lots to talk about today. It's kind of raining out there right now. It's wacky weather. But at least it's warm. That's one thing. I'm going to have a sip of water. At least it's warm. Everything's nice out there. And we're good to go on the show. April showers bring May flowers. What can I tell you? That's the way it goes. So before we get into the show and talk about everything we're going to talk about, I just want to mention our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamill Machine Company. We're looking at the weather. It's so up, it's so down. It's all kinds of craziness out there. But at the end of the day, we know what's coming. Summer. Get your car into Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Get them to take a look at all your systems. They have a free spring checkup. They're going to look at everything. Brakes, control systems, lights, you name it. They go through the whole car. Throw you on their computer scanner. Tell you about any error codes that manage to pop up. Change your oil, change your winter tires. They do the whole routine for you, getting you ready for summer. You don't want to be breaking down in summer, right? You want to just have a happy summer with your family and roaming around this beautiful Ontario, because nobody wants to go to the United States anymore, they say. And you can roam around Ontario and be content knowing that your car is in good shape. If you get in a wreck, Wild Bill's Auto Repair Body Shop has a full body shop. Bring it in wrecked, send it out in showroom condition. You're happy, I'm happy, everybody's happy. Your car's the happiest of all. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop on Oakwood Drive, next to the Kia dealership. Check them out today. Okay, so I just had my sponsor, Bob Benner from Hamill Machine Company, just stopped by for a second. I was chatting with him. And he says he's getting a lot more orders from Canada. So that's good. He lost a bit of his U.S. stuff because of tariffs and everything else that's going on. He's not a big fan of Trump and the tariffs, of course, when you have a business and you do cross-border stuff. That would be only natural because there's so much uncertainty. And I actually talked to Tony Baldinelli this morning about that. It's a crazy situation. And I gave him my advice. Not that anybody listens to me, but what the heck, right? You got somebody on the phone, you might as well tell them what you think. And my advice is, hey, Trump is a businessman. Tell PP not to try to deal with him like a politician. He's got to go down there and make a business case. We're going to make money. It's about money, right? How do we both countries make a lot of money easy? And the easiest way is to have no tariffs. I mean, just go back and forth with no fees, no tariffs, no anything. That's what they got to do. So there's my tip. Don't try to deal with Trump on a political level. He's not a politician. He's a businessman. He's making business sense, and he wants to make America great again. And if Canada wants to go along for the ride, he's quite happy with that. People think he hates Canada. He don't hate Canada. He wants Canada to go along on the ride. Two nations, powerful, the most powerful economy in the world, other than any civilizations we never heard of course. So there you go. So that was my advice to him. And tariffs, he goes, Paul, you can't even imagine the intricacy of this thing. He goes, there's so many parts crossing the border that are integral to making a car, from a piece of aluminum from China for the heads, and then block, and it's milled there, and then sent over here, and then sent over there. He goes, they cross the borders. I don't even know how you're going to keep track of it. And I said, well, keep track of this, Tony. Ask PP to take the HST off of used cars, because we're sick of paying it 10 times through the sales life. So I told him that too. So there you go. So, and then I had a pleasant surprise yesterday when I got home. There was a beautiful Tony Baldinelli sign on my front lawn. That's it. And that's why I called him in the first place. Say, hey, tell him to take the HST off of your used cars because we're sick of that. He wants to do anything. And also give me a sign if you got one. And he called me back right away. Yeah, he called me back right away. He's right on it, Tony. And I would imagine he's a pretty busy guy now. I said I'd invite him on the show, but I think with the closeness of this race, that he's way better off on the street shaking hands and talking to people. Because that's what you got to do, right? I mean, these shows are great, but at the end of the day, that's an hour and a half that, you could be touching people, one-on-one and really, really explaining it to them. And these polls are whacked. And there are concerns. I mean, like you've got every liberal left-wing media pundit telling you that Carney's up by 11%, which is all baloney. They're bought and paid for liberal media. They're not like this station. There's no buying and paying for here. They're bought and paid for, so you're not going to get the real story from them. You're going to get the left-wing spin. So I don't believe the numbers at all. It kind of reminds me of the USA where Trump's getting 30,000, 50,000 people at a rally, and Harris is getting 100, and everybody was saying Harris is leading in the polls. She's going to win. She didn't have a prayer landslide. It's going to be a landslide, and it was. That's what I predicted. That's what happened. So anyway, neat to talk to Tony. He's right in the middle of it. He said he's busy. He's going all over the place, seniors' homes, and I said that's good. I said I'm going to talk about you on the show here. I mean, I'm with the conservatives. I'm conservative, and as long as there's a competent candidate, and there's nobody more competent than Tony Baldinelli, he's going to do it. And everybody says, oh, what's he done for the city? Well, the guy's done lots. I can't think of it right off. And I know that sounds fishy, but he's up there battling and slugging it out. And how do I know? Because I watch him on TV. I see him getting up in Parliament, and I see him bringing things forth for Niagara Falls to the federal government and trying to get funds and working as hard as for the people of Niagara Falls. And believe me, I wouldn't be going for him if he was incompetent. You saw what I did in the provincial election. I voted for Jody Burnett. I wasn't voting for any of the other ones. I don't vote for incompetence. Tony's the guy. Okay, how about some viewer comments? And hey, leave me comments about that. Because at the end of the day, let's see what you have to say. You might tell me I should shut up. That's fine. I don't mind. And maybe you're right, but I gotta say, be transparent, say what I do, and say what I think about these things. This isn't a news show. I don't have to be a neutral. I can be for one person or the other. It's commentary. It's opinion. And that's all it is. And it doesn't reflect the views of anybody else at 4680Q. That's only me, my show. Everybody else could be on the left wing. I don't know. It's up to them. But my show, we look at it from a conservative perspective, and there's not a lot of conservative shows around. Let me put it that way. Oh, a shout out to Gary Wilkins, too, and Wheels, my buddy Wheels. I asked Bob if we could go for a tour, and he said yes, anytime. There you go, you guys. Gary Wilkins, Dave Wheeler, want to go for a tour of the Hamill Machine Company? Well, here we go. We can do it. They'll take you around. And Tony Baldinelli, I don't know if you're listening. You're probably not. But if you are, he said you should stop in there, too, and talk to people. So there's a good tip. Maybe I'll email Tony about that. Okay, viewer comments. The Iceman69, one of my more frequent commenters, glad they sold. Now, he's talking about Gales Gas Bar when I was talking about them the other day. Now, here we go. There goes a street sweeper down Park Street. Well, he's moving a little bit fast to sweep, but he probably is. But now somebody told me they've seen street sweepers going up and down Queen Street a whack of times. And I'm going, why? How many times do you have to sweep the street in 1 week? I think Penny Brookify sent me a picture of the street sweeper going by, and it was like the second or third time on Queen Street. And she's going, what the hell? I mean, you talk about Doge and a waste of money. Well, here we go. And now I see another one over here. How about sending them to our neighborhoods? That's our Doge of the day right there. But I'm going to get into Doge a little bit more on Thursday when I bring back the $350,000 waste of money. I found it. I've been looking for a couple days. I found it. I'm printing it. I'm going to bring it in and read it on Thursday. So all you Doge guys know what's going on. Go to Doge Niagara on Facebook, and you'll see it. I'm going to post it there so you all can get mad. Well, as mad as I am anyway about wasting our money. They say that's up with 350,000. Well, that's a half. That's a half of a percent off your tax bill. 700,000 takes 1% off. So it's not much, but I just paid my taxes today, and I'll talk about that in a minute too. Okay, so glad they sold. Don't know how to run a company. Personal experience might be better with new owners. He's talking about Gales Gas Bar, and that's the Iceman 69. And boy, woo! There's a comment. There's a comment from the Iceman. They've been around for 57 years, and they don't look like they're hurting too bad, any of the Gales. I mean, they gave $1 million for the arena. So I would say for the last 6 decades, they've been running that Gales Corporation, Gas Bars, and Bob's Fresh. I say they've been running them pretty good. That's what I would say. But, I mean, maybe John, the Iceman, he didn't sell him any ice. Maybe that's why he doesn't think they run a good business. I don't know. But, boy, when you're around for 57 years, and I would say they're pretty well millionaires a few times over from it. They gave $1 million for the Gale Center. I don't know. What do you think out there? And I received another message from someone about the Gales Gas Bar sale, talking about the new buyer, Jagdeep Binder. Now, this person sent me a message that says he was a former CRA employee that committed fraud and was charged $500,000 by the RCMP as a fine. He's also listed as a numbered company in Mississauga, so whoever sent me this was figuring it's the same Jagdeep Binder. And I don't know, it could be the same guy. I mean, everything points to it. The guy charged the RCMP for fraud. CRA, that's CRA, that's the income tax, right? Canada Revenue Agency. Worked for them, $500,000 fine or something for fraud. Could well be a different Jagdeep Binder. I mean, I don't know. There's a bunch of people named Jagdeep Binder probably in Mississauga, so who knows? But thanks for that message and the heads up. The comment was, aren't they vetting who they sell these places to? Jagdeep Binder. Now I got to think, am I going to go to these gas stations if this is the guy? I mean, who knows what he's going to do? Yeah, gives me the creepy crawlies. That's it for the comments, though. Good comments, and I got another comment. This is a great show from a gentleman whose name I won't say the name because I never asked him if I could. They said great show. I watch it all the time. Said I can't subscribe because I can't banned from Google or something. So, but he watches it every day. So share it with your friends. That's what you all should do. Share the show. Let everybody in on it and have a laugh here, right? We want more people, more subscribers. I want everybody to subscribe and get a notification when I post the show. Give comments, be involved, get involved with the political process, get involved with the city elections, get involved with going down to City Hall and protesting them blowing our money once Doge gets a hold of more things. Yeah, what the hell? What do we got to lose? If we save money, it's out of our tax dollars that we pay all the time. And like I said, I'll be talking about that, my tax bill that I paid today, just a little bit later on in the show. So today's, like I said, is the 113th anniversary of the sinking of the Titanic. And, I don't know about you out there. Maybe you got better things to do. I don't know. But this sinking fascinates me. It just always has since I was a kid. Since I first read about the Titanic and watched The Night to Remember, the old time movie, right up to the documentaries on YouTube and the movie by James Cameron, who went to high school with us. I went to high school with James Cameron. The guy's been down to the Titanic wreck like 33 times. So he's pretty well an expert on the Titanic, and I just can't get enough of the stories behind it. But not just the stories, you know, boat hits iceberg, sinks, history. Rest is history. There's a million stories behind it about the people on board, about conspiracy theories, stories about what really happened. I mean, the basic story: iceberg, ship runs in, iceberg sinks, 1,500 lost, 700 saved out of the people on board. But it goes from that to individual stories, incompetence, to fraud, skullduggery. It's all there. Did J.P. Morgan know the Titanic was going to be scuttled? And the rest of the other three of the richest men in the world were on board: Jacob Astor and Benny Guggenheim and Isidore Strauss, three of the biggest, richest men in the world. They're going to be on there. They didn't want to have the Central Reserve started. They didn't want the Federal Reserve, it's called now, Central Bank back then. Started up in 1913, just about a year after the Titanic sank. They were against it. J.P. Morgan wanted it. Did he scuttle? Did he scuttle the Titanic? I mean, he was owner of White Star Lines. They were losing money. He was supposed to be on the ship. He never did. He never did get on. Took off his big giant lion statues that he was going to put in front of his house in New York. Got them off the ship, and then said he was ill. Couldn't make the trip. Meanwhile, they found him in saw him in Paris, partying it up. Same night it was sunk. Another thing was the scuttle for the insurance money. The Olympic had a run-in with a British naval vessel called the Hawk, which and severely damaged the Olympic. It was damaged so bad, and it was found to be the fault of the Olympic in the White Star Lines, and so they couldn't claim anything from an insurance or anything, and the ship wasn't navigable anymore. They couldn't sail it. Couldn't get past the seaworthy test. So they had this big ship. They spent millions of dollars to build. This is back in the early 1900s, 1910. They started building these things. 1909, 1910. Couldn't get any money for it. Couldn't sail it. Couldn't generate any money for White Star Lines. So what do? Swap-a-rooney. Put the Titanic name on it. Take it out to the center of the Atlantic, sink it. Nobody knows what ship went down. They get the insurance money for the alleged Titanic, and they're not broke anymore. Was Captain Smith involved? Changing directions of the ship, sending it full speed through ice fields, when he was warned by many ships that day about the ice fields and the icebergs. Was it the curse of the mummy? There was a mummy that was on this ship, allegedly, that was cursed. And everywhere this mummy went, people died. And it was going over to America. Was allegedly on the ship. I mean, was it something as simple as watches, not having binoculars to spot the iceberg? It was a clear night, a cold night, and it was a dark night, no moon. And without binoculars, they couldn't see that far in front of them. So they're on a collision course for this iceberg, and they didn't even know it. Was it just a set of binoculars that they didn't have in the crow's nest? It's just there's so many different things. There's so many warnings about the ice, and the messages about the ice were either disregarded by Captain Smith or they were never delivered to him. The Morse code guys, who did not work for the White Star Lines, they worked for the Morse company, were in there taking and sending messages via Morse code and getting signals from these other guys. And they told them to stop sending them signals. They had to get a bunch of messages out for the people on board before they got to America. So that could have been another thing that had to do with it, either disregard or just not giving them the messages. And the iceberg itself, I mean, we talk about the Titanic, but how about the iceberg itself? It started its journey to the April 15th collision 2 years before, breaking off of a big glacier in Greenland, off the coast of Greenland. and going up into Baffin Bay, circling around and coming back down. And then usually these icebergs don't make it far once they hit into the shipping lanes because it's the Gulf Stream that they're in there. It's warm water, 18 degrees C at some points, and they just melt. But this one was so massive that it made it to Newfoundland. And not only that, for some bizarre reason, the Labrador Current, which is cold and keeps these icebergs alive, actually dipped down into the Gulf Stream. So the actual iceberg was protected by the cold waters. And it was a lot, and because of that, it crept into the shipping lanes with on a collision course with the Titanic. So that was another thing that was pretty weird. This iceberg was huge, 2 megatons, standing between 50 and 100 feet high, and between 200 and 400 feet long. Like, this was big. It was 100 times, 1,000 times the weight of the Titanic. It was huge. It was massive. You know, you think, how could a boat hit a piece of ice and water? I mean, rip it apart. Well, that's the size of it. It was huge. Or it could have been exactly what it appears to be, a series of small mistakes made out of arrogance, thinking that the ship couldn't be sunk, not having enough lifeboats, and it just hit the iceberg. And the way they bonded metal in those days for these ships was by rivets. They drive in rivets and put two plates of steel together, right? And basically, that's what held it together and kept it watertight. Millions of rivets. But they had a machine that did it, so they could use steel rivets, which are better. But because the machine couldn't work on curved surfaces at the front where the bow came in, they had to do it by hand. And because they couldn't use steel, they were too hard to form. They had to use iron, and they had to do it by hand. So these iron rivets were not as strong as the steel. So when it hit the iceberg, they just popped. And it wasn't a rip along the seam. It was the two pieces of metal getting bent in. And then when it bent in, it popped the rivet. So just something like that. A simple pair of binoculars could have saved it. So, yeah, we remember that. And it was on April 15th, 113 years ago, 1912, that it all happened. It all went down. Largest moving object on Earth, the largest object ever to move on water, the largest moving object ever created by humans. A marvel of engineering, 882 feet long, and considered to be unsinkable. But you know what? Mother Nature can't read and doesn't know that. And of course, we have the direct connection to Niagara Falls with James Cameron making the movie and going down to the wreck 33 times, and probably is one of the foremost authorities on the Titanic and the sinking. And I think National Geographic has a new 3D adventure out where you can actually view the Titanic standing right on the bottom of the ocean, looking at it from all the different scans and stuff they've done over the years. So there you go. Over to my second sponsor, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue. Hey, you want a great pizza? Pete's Pizza is the place to go. Seriously, I had a couple pieces this morning. These guys know how to make a pizza. Sauce and cheese in the right ratios. Mancini family recipe for the sauce and the crust. Cornmeal on the crust. Fresh ingredients on top. You can't beat it. They know how to make it. They know how to cook it. The guys are good at what they do. It's my favorite pizza in town right now. But they don't just have pizza. They have fantastic wings. They have fantastic poutine, steak and cheese poutine, steak sandwiches, panzerotti. They got a whole menu. It's a huge menu of it. So if you are looking for a snackaroonie and you love your pizza, this might be a place you want to go on Victoria Avenue, Pete's Pizza. That's where to go. See Rex or Mike. They're going to make you a great pizza. 905-374-2222. Or you can go to Pete's Pizza Victoria.ca, and you can order right online. Wednesdays, they have a tray of pizza on, $19.99 for pizza with 3 toppings. On Thursdays, they have a pound of wings for $9.69. And they have good wings. They have really good wings there as well. So go get them. And they're always putting new stuff on the menu. Rex he's an inventor. He's a chef. He brought out this pizza. I was there a few weeks ago, right in the store, and he brought out this pizza with broccoli and spinach and chicken, and it was a white pizza. It was real good. White pizza's not my bag, but they know what they're doing over there. Pizza Victoria Avenue. Support our sponsors because they support the show. So, you think Fragmites are bad? Do you even know what Fragmites are? Well, Councillor Victor Peterangelo wanted to up the capital budget to keep them in check. I think they're plants, to be honest with you. I think they're plants, and they're growing in Fernwood, and he wants to get rid of them. Fragmites, but Victor, I got something even worse. I got something worse for you, buddy. Yeah, I got something you can spend more of a taxpayer dollars on. And that is the hammerhead worm. Yep, the invasive species could be wandering around your garden this year. Hammerhead worm, Councillor Peterangelo, get on it. Come on. Who the hell wants hammerhead worms in their backyard? Yeah, they're toxic. Your dog or cat eats them. They're not going to be very happy after. And they eat normal earthworms, which we know are beautiful, and they do good for your gardens and lawns. Snails and small insects. They have a neurotoxin that's lethal to their prey. I mean, they're not going to be neurotoxin to you unless you eat one or eat a dozen of them, thinking there's some kind of delicacy. But that toxin can also irritate human skin, eyes, and can be harmful to pets. They eat them. You really want them hanging around. How to get rid of them? Salt them. Salt them. Salt them up, and they dry up like a prune. But don't chop them in pieces, because these things are prolific. They actually will grow. You chop them in half, they'll grow another head. Yeah, they multiply. So you don't want to be chopping them up. You want to kill them. Salt on them, salt and vinegar, like the potato chips. You see them in your garden, report them to the province's invasive species hotline, or go to niagarafalls.ca, look up Victor Peterangelo's phone number, and give him a call. Report these hammerhead worms. Me, I just step on them and turn my foot, squish them till they're dead. That's what I would do. Don't do it with bare feet. They have neurotoxins. You might have a rash on your foot. Definitely don't throw them on the barbecue. Over to Welland. How about ponying up the money? Welland, pony up the money you owe us for the Niagara South Hospital. Come on. Get off your wallets. The invoice has been sent. Now we're waiting for payment. Last week, Niagara Health President and CEO Lynn Guerriero, and VP Harpreet Bassi went before Welland Council and asked them to cough up their share of the $2.3 billion tab, of which Welland, Niagara Falls, Fort Erie, Port Colborne, Pelham, and Wainflete were expected to contribute. They were supposed to contribute $230 million between all of them, or 10% of the build price. And I think, as far as I know, Niagara Falls is the only one to kick it in. And the plan was to contribute $340.63 per capita. From each municipality that wasn't involved, and Welland's share was $17 million. Now, of course, you can add another 50% to the build price. We know governments can't build for what they say. $2.3 million is probably going to turn into $4 billion is going to turn into $4 billion. But the government, they're so nice to us. The government's so nice to us, they're going to stick to the $230 million they wanted. Now, Niagara Falls, we know, has already kicked in about $70 million. We know that, right? $30 million that we've got sitting aside waiting for 2028, plus $11 million for the property we got sucked into buying from that deal. And then who knows, another $30 million on infrastructure that has to be done before they can build it. So we're getting tapped. We're getting tapped. But the amount needed from each municipality reads like this. Niagara Falls, $30 million. Like I say, we probably threw in closer to $70 million by now. Welland, 17.8 million, almost 18 million. Fort Erie, 10.5 million. Now, Welland's given us zero. Let's write down zero. Fort Erie, 10.5 million. We got zero. Port Colborne, 6.3 million. Another big zero. Pelham, 5.8 million. Oops, another zero. And Waynfleet, 2.2 million. Zero. Yeah, Niagara Falls is the only municipality that's going to be able to step up and pay the money. And they're hemming and hawing and da-dee-da-do-do-do. And they're hemming and hawing. They don't want to pay it. They don't want to pay it. They're going to do anything they can to not pay it, of course. But at the end of the day, you know what? They got to pay it. Come on. Come on. Get off your wallets. Don't make Niagara Falls pay the whole tab. They said payment schedules have been worked out, and ours is due by 2028. But of course, the municipalities, they're all crying poverty. They don't have the money to give, and deteriorating infrastructure and other bills to pay. Sorry, we got to spend $30 million on the city. We got bad roads and bad sewers and bad everything. I mean, most of them have an issue with downloading to the municipalities rather than being funded wholly by the province. Anyway, it's a provincial hospital. Why are we funding it? CEO Guerrero says that if they don't pony up the money, the hospital opening may be delayed, as the province has to find the funding. And also, interest on any funding is going to have to be paid because they have to loan money to pony up for the ones that aren't donating their fair share. And now they're also starting to lean on them. They're putting a quid pro quo on them. Like, if you don't give us the money, then, and you want your hospital fixed up and repaired over there, the emergency part of it, or have a future Welland site because they need it down that way, well, they might not give it to you. How about that? Might not happen. Come on, guys. Don't leave Niagara Falls hanging. You got to get in there. You got to pay your fair share. Let's get it over with. The falls has been taken down to the cleaners already. We've been taken to the cleaners. We can't afford anymore, us taxpayers. It's your turn. Come on. Come on. Come on. Speck. Graham Speck and the rest of the Campion and all those other guys who argue all the time. The WWE is in Welland, lives in Welland. Give us our money. Thanks to Dave Johnson, a Welland-based reporter with the Welland Tribune, for the great article in the review. So from Welland, let's head over to GM in St. Catharines. Now, we saw the Ingersoll plant close down. And of course it did. Who wants to buy EVs? Nobody wants them. All the tree huggers have already bought their EVs. Climate change people have already bought. The market's gone. It's dead. It's done. I mean, but in the GM St. Catharines plant, we used to call it McKinnon's back in my day, they make V6 engines for Sierra, Silverado, Tahoe, Escalade, and the Camaro. Good old-fashioned gas-powered engines, which will never be out of style. Or I shouldn't say that. I think they make V8 engines over there. V8s they make. Never go out of style. Everybody always wants them. So there you go. What are you going to do? Now, the V6 engine and 6-speed transmission plant was retooled in 2023 to build electric vehicle drive units. And some of those people are on layoffs. And GM, of course, like Ford and Stellantis and Volkswagen and every other EV company that is, we're going to have all EVs by 2035, they're reconsidering it. And so is this V6 engine plant. They're reconsidering it too. Surveys said 11% of the people surveyed said they would make an EV their next purchase. And that sounds like a lot, but it's not, and it's down 3% from the year before. So you can see this market is going the way of the dodo. And I mean, GM really should have left it alone because these EVs are a bust. The plant in Ingersoll making these EVs, it's never worked out. The government gave them, provincial and federal government gave them $518 million to retool and everything, and it's just been a dud. Nobody's buying them. The EV craze is basically over. The big companies, even Tesla, are looking at water powered hydrogen cell vehicles. That's where the push is now. Good luck, Ingersoll. You're going to need it. And you know what? If they were smart, they go back. They go back to the V6 because guess what? These EVs are done. They're not the future of motoring. I mean, even the Chargers that were going to be all electric. They got rid of the Challenger, all electric Chargers. Now they're going to start putting Hemis in them again. That's right. They're going to start back with the gas engines. Trump's opened up. Drill, baby, drill. We don't have to worry about fuel. And they're going back. You got so many of these EVs sitting on lots, they can't get rid of them. Can't get rid of them. So that's the way it's going. Sorry, Ingersoll. They did you wrong. They did you wrong. They should have left everything as it is and forgot about these EVs. But there's this big push and mandate, and that's what happens. You know, I got to laugh. Did you see this crazy launch yesterday of this Bezos Blue Lagoon or whatever the hell it's called? Kate Perry was on it. Katy Perry. And Oprah's best friend, Gail King. I thought Oprah was on there. Too much weight, maybe. They couldn't get it up. So that goes for a lot of people. But she sat on the ground crying when she saw Gail King, her best friend, flying into the air and going up high. I don't know how high they went, just 200,000 or 300,000 feet, just enough to get on in space. They said, and then the thing came back down a big 8 million flight, 8 minute flight. Probably cost them 8 million each. 8 minute flight, up and down, smashed down on the Earth, and Katy Perry got out and kissed the Earth, and now they're astronauts. They have these weird Baphomet patches on their flight suits too. I mean, truly bizarre. These people are, I think they're a little bit evil. But anyway, they crashed down there, and then parachutes came out. The thing landed, boom, and everybody's cheering and everything. And they said they're our latest new astronauts. Now, I don't know. Can you call them astronauts really when you go up? You got like a minute of weightlessness and you come back down. Is that an astronaut? I always think of an astronaut like, you going up and orbiting the Earth and at the space station and going to the moon or wherever else they said they went. I think they're astronauts. These guys, what are they? It's a glorified plane ride, really. And they make them out to be like astronauts. What they do have is more money than Jed Clampett because they can afford to do this crazy stuff. I mean, I don't know what it costs. The first seat on the first one that went cost $28 million. They auctioned it off and it went for $28 million. I don't know. I think they have to put 150,000 down. So if they're looking for 10% down, that makes the trip 1.5 million for 8 minutes. I don't know. I think they get the same kick in the pants if they went on the giant Desperado roller coaster down in on State Line in Buffalo Bills in Nevada there. But hey, that's me. If you have the money, what the hell, right? They went up, they came down, saw the curve of the Earth. They said, yeah. And what else did they see? Something else. Well, they saw stars. Nobody ever sees stars. Saw something else. I don't know what it was. Anyway, what the craziest thing I ever saw. But people are willing to pay for this stuff, so why not? What the hell, right? You're willing to pay, we got a ride for you. Just come down and hang around the meteor crater across the street. Have a hot dog, get a beer, go sit in the meteor crater. Wait for the spaceship. Over to the election. Are you a senior? Well, here's what the parties are offering U.S. seniors in the next election. These are the campaign promises. Conservatives, keep retirement age at 65. Well, that's good. That's a good thing. Not that anybody can quit at 65 anymore. I mean, most people are so under the gun from high taxes, or They can't afford their houses. They got to keep working. Nobody retires at 65. I mean, it's almost impossible. Keep your savings in RSPs until 73. Well, that's a good thing. I wish I had that. I mean, I had RSPs. I have to take them in riffs and take a minimum amount of, even though I really don't need the money. But it's put on your income tax as income, and it affects your Trillium HST, guaranteed income supplement, all the other things that people get. So if you don't have to take it, you shouldn't. I wish they would delay it. And somebody else said they should delay it forever. You don't need the money, don't take it out. They force you to, but I wish they'd delay it forever. But they're going to extend it till 73 now. It's currently 71 if you didn't know. Working seniors can earn up to $34,000 total income tax free. So that's good. It used to be 24. They raised it to 34. So that's really good. Thank you. And it means that people can go out who need second jobs and make an extra $10,000 to help them out, pay their bills and that without getting taxed. A lot of people 65 and older, that's what they're doing. They've also promised a 2.25% income tax cut. That's good. Any cut on income tax for seniors is good. And they're allowing Canadians to contribute up to $12,000 a year to tax-free savings account, which is another good thing. If you have a lot of money coming in, it's nice to be able to put it into an account where you're not hammered for the interest every year. And this will probably help seniors too when they take the federal sales tax off of cars made in Canada. I think that'll help some people retire, and the last thing they want to do in their retirement is buy another car, buy a new car that's going to last them for the rest of their life, maybe. So yeah, it's all good. From the conservatives, it's all good. The liberals, well, Carney promises temporary support to help seniors cope with tariffs. He would lower the minimum amount that must be withdrawn from a RIF by 25% for 1 year. For 1 year, that's it. Said he would increase the guaranteed income supplement by 5% for 1 year, with the maximum being $652. 5%, I mean, it's like $20. He also promised a 1% cut to the middle class tax rate. I mean, this is nonsense. This is nonsense. A 1 year reprieve. Listen, let's get this straight. Liberals are tax and spend artists. That's what they do. And they'll tell you to your face. Trudeau told everybody, we're going to deficit spend. That's right. We're going to deficit spend. They didn't care about the deficit. They were like, we're in for a buck and a half. $1.5 trillion is the Canada's debt right now. They don't care about that. They don't care about that. Doesn't matter to them. All they care about is one thing: tax and spend your money. Blow your money. That's why we need Doge. And that's why I'm going to tell Tony Baldinelli next time I see him that Pierre's got to hire Doge. Hire some people who look at government efficiency. And I think he said it. I think PP said it himself. So this Carney, this is a word salad, a bunch of nonsense. This guy's a pencil neck geek. He was probably pushed around in school and he got to be a big shot, and now he's pushing everybody else. He's not going to do anything for you. NDP, forget about them. They want to expand pharmacare to cover all medications, and that's about all they said. That's about all I have to say about that. That was their response to what are you going to do for seniors. Forget about it. Now, let's face it, most of these talking heads singing Carney, they're just plagiarizing Pierre Poilievre. Norton is going to take your money. Who's a big fan of ripping people off? Norton, carbon tax. Norton, his buddy Carney. Norton, Jimmy Dollywall, another one. Yeah, tax and spend. Orange liberals, red liberals, tax and spend. Never forget that. That's their makeup. That's what they believe in. That's their platform. That's their mantra. They aren't going to stop. No matter what he tells you, we're getting rid of the carbon tax. No, he's not getting rid of nothing. He stole that from PP, and now we're getting rid of GST on homes under or over $1 million. Under $1 million. Dollars. No. These guys will find another way to take your money. They're going to find another way. They always do. Never fails. Now, Rudy Bouginal, president of the Canadian Association of Retired Persons, CARP, said he's most impressed with the conservative platform for seniors so far. That many seniors are having to continue to work and to raise an income level tax free. They'll raise an income level tax free. The deferring of using RSP money to 73 are steps in the right direction as seniors are feeling more pressure to afford living in their houses as these cities increase our taxes, property taxes, all groceries, everything gone up 30-40%. Now, see, CARP wants government to totally throw out mandatory maximum withdrawals or minimum withdrawals of RSPs. They want to throw it out completely. Get rid of it. No good. So, way to go, PP. You're doing the best for seniors of all of these hacks. Vote wisely, my fellow seniors, of which I'm one. Vote wisely. You need more money, not less. Come on. Okay, let's get over to my last sponsor. Then we're going to talk about PP. Yeah, we like talking about PP. But first, we got to talk about Hamel Machine Company. Been around since 1948, serving industry in Niagara Falls. And believe me, machine shops like Hamel are an integral part of businesses, of industry in the city, in any city. They take care of the things that have to be sent away for new parts and that. They can reverse engineer parts. They can fix parts. They weld. They can cut new parts out with their water jet cutters. They can print new parts with their 3D laser printers. They can do all of this stuff. Their 3D printers are unbelievable, this technology. And this is what they do for industry. They're innovators, they're inventors. When somebody comes to them with a problem, they engineer a part for them or a piece for them that'll help them run more efficiently. They don't just rebuild a part, they look at it and see how it can be built better. That's what they do. Computer technologists, they have everything over there to be able to do that. And that's why they're so important to the city. Bob is going to be going to BC. There's a bunch of things that they need out there, probably with the wine industry. He never told me exactly why, but they do a lot of work for the wine industry and innovate for the wine industry to make their work go faster. Time is money. Hamel saves them time. That's the bottom line. Hamel Machine Company in Niagara Falls, this little machine shop, that's what we think of it, but they're worldwide. They're worldwide. It's amazing the work they do. Go to their website, hamelmachine.ca. You'll be blown away at the work they do. And Gary Wilkins and Dave Wheeler, like I said at the beginning of the show, you want to go on a tour? Bob's going to hook us up. Let me know. We'll go over there and see what they got. I'd love to see it. It's probably amazing. Okay, now we talk turkey here, right? Yeah, we talk turkey at your city. There's no fool around. And I like what PP is doing. He's pledging to use the notwithstanding clause to circumvent these liberal courts. And does it look like it's getting dark in here? Because it is. The sky outside is black and it's starting to rain. I don't know. Should I turn on the lights? Maybe I got to turn on the light. Let's see. That don't make a difference. Not enough light in here. These big windows give you light. But anyway, it's getting dark in here. Yeah, too dark to see. Anyway, the notwithstanding clause, he's going to use to circumvent these liberal courts and these liberal judges. And he's going to implement his tough on crime agenda if they don't agree with him. I love it. Something no PM has done before. Yes, we need to deport and lock these criminals up. One or the other. Maybe send them to El Salvador. But he's going to get after him. And I just heard him talking on TV saying the same thing. He said he's going to pass a law to allow judges to impose consecutive life sentences in cases of multiple murders. Now, the Supreme Court shot that down. They said, you can't do that. That's a violation of the Charter of Rights. Consecutive sentences, they got to be served concurrent. Baloney. Murderers violate every law in the book, and they violate the victim's charter of rights to live. When you murder someone, you give up your charter of rights. You're entitled to a speedy trial, and if I were PM, an execution of your choice. We'll give you the right to choose. There you go. But I digress. Oh, there should be no parole either. Screw that. These mamby-pamby 7-year paroles, forget about it. Never happened. Not if I was PM. You don't have to go far to start puking your guts out. Look to St. Catherine's and that the guy, I don't even want to mention his name. His name, he makes me so sick. He's in a minimum security or medium security jail now, and he comes up for parole. And one day, he's going to be released to a halfway house. You know it. And he can join his murdering girlfriend out in the public, traveling the country, free as a bird. I mean, come on. He should have been given his last meal years ago. But yeah, that's the way they roll. Not tough on crime. You want crime to stop. You want to control crime. You got to get the criminals off the streets once and for all. And that's what PP says he's going to do. He says he will use only Section 33 of the Charter, and that's the notwithstanding clause, to fight crime, which is good. It's much needed. Come on, look at Niagara Falls here. I mean, criminals are wandering the streets after they've been through the turnstile of justice we call court, and the liberal judges giving these guys low bail and taps on the wrist for their violent crimes. You know, like the guy who gets stabbed downtown. They picked up a guy. He was in out of order on his parole. Outstanding warrant against him and all that, and then they found out he didn't do it, and they caught the guy who actually did it. But they got a 2-for-1 in that case, right? And there's all kinds of these people wandering around the streets, and nobody does nothing. Cops can't do anything, unless they run into them like these guys did. So PP's going to take care of that, and we got to get these guys in jail instead of back in the streets, striking fear into the general law-abiding public like us, right? Got to get them off the streets once and for all. That's the bottom line. So, another one. When you vote, vote wisely, my friends. Come on. Get out there, vote. Vote smart. Let's head down south for a little while here, for a minute. Everything's starting to settle down. The tariff wars are still going on, of course. But the Dow Jones Industrial Average up over the 40,000 mark. It's back. Canadian dollar's up a bit. Everything's working on the tariff front. It's quiet. China being brought to their knees. Without the U.S. market, let's face it, China's done. They have to sell their goods to America. Yeah, they can do all these tariffs. Trump's just going to retaliate. But you know what? All their merchandise is starting to pile up on docks. It's not being shipped. People aren't ordering because of the tariffs. And it's basically over. It's over for these guys. Done. Complete. Kaput. There. There's Bob Benner right there. Speaking of Hamill, there they go. Yeah, they support local businesses too. They go up the street here for some wings on special and tacos at Grand Central. So when the peasants aren't happy in China, the billions of them, what happens? Oh, they get mad. They revolt. And the Chinese are going to have millions that aren't happy when they all get laid off because all these factories are stopped because they can't ship anything anywhere. Nothing can replace the huge market of the United States of America. And if they think they can just go on normally, they got another thing coming. They're a bunch of stunads, and they better get their military ready to deal with their people rioting in the streets. It's going to get ugly. And I don't doubt if you see them saying, oh, can we just renegotiate this? We can't do it anymore. And same with Canada. We just can't do this anymore. We need a deal. We got to unload all this crap off this junk we send to Americans, Canadians. We got to unload it off the docks. You got to get it out of here. Or there's a revolt. And that's what's really going on over there. I mean, they say, China's got the United States by the balls. And yeah, that's baloney. Trump's bending. No, he's not bending. He's playing a game that we have to get our leaders to understand. They got to understand Trump before they can sit down and deal with him. Over to Iran. Tell you the truth, they kind of got the U.S. over a barrel. They're developing their nuclear program to the edge. It's still commercial grade for the people, but it's like a few hours away from being weapons worthy. Let me put it that way. So the U.S. is trying to get them with sanctions and other things and threats to stop producing and enriching uranium and stuff. But you know what? They're not doing anything that is illegal. Let's put it that way. That is illegal. So it's really hard for the U.S. to deal with this. But they're this far from weapons grade that they could be launching against people. The U.S. keeps warning Iran, but really, what's their next step? When you think about it, it's great for Trump to stand up there and say, hey, we're going to bomb the hell out of you. It's another thing to do it. And I think Iran knows that. I think these guys are pretty savvy. They've been doing this crap for years now, and they've been getting away with it. And nobody's really had the balls to go in there and do what they have to do because of the fallout from around the world. I mean, what is the reason the United States is going to go in there to bomb them for preemptive strikes because they might do something? Well, that's great, but they've sanctioned the hell out of them, and they've also thrown sanctions on China and Russia. Stop buying from them. Don't give them the money to develop these things, but they still find a way. So, I mean, he can warn them and say everything he wants, but at the end of the day, what's he really going to do? And it reminds me of all these guys in the United States, the justices and the attorney general and everything else. I mean, it's great to threaten these guys and say you're going to jail, but until they throw somebody in jail, really, it's just a threat that nobody's going to take seriously if you don't act on it. So it comes down to the United States acting on their threats. Are they going to do it? Are they just going to go in and bomb the hell out of them preemptively because they think they have nuclear weapons? It's a weird situation over there right now. I mean, they're continuing to hammer the Houthis, bombing the hell out of them, and telling Iran to stay out of it. And of course, Israel's hammering Hamas in the north, and they're telling Iran to stay out of it. And Iran's sitting back. They really haven't retaliated for any of the bombings that, not in a good way anyway. They told them, we're going to send some missiles over, and then they blow them up in the sky. So it's a really, really weird thing going on over there. We have to keep an eye on that, though. I mean, it could escalate quickly. Trump doesn't telegraph any moves he's going to make. So when he says they're going to bomb the hell out of them, he might not be kidding. You might see the B-2s or B-1Bs and B-2s and B-52s flying over, just hammering these nuclear sites, nuclear weapon sites or nuclear enrichment sites anytime now. So you have to keep an eye on that one, see what's going on, and go from there. So tomorrow, absolutely coming live. And I'm not a happy camper. Come on. Montreal lost last night. We still haven't secured a playoff spot with one game to go against Carolina. A tough game. Oh, man. I mean, they're making me have a heart attack, these guys. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. If you're not a Habs fan, you probably don't care. But if you're a Habs fan, you want to tune in. And then we're going to come back with straight talk Thursday and talk a little bit more about everything. And on Thursday, I am going to bring back for Doge and put it on Doge the waste of $350,000 at the November 12th, 2024 meeting of City Council. We're going to remind everybody, I'm going to keep this front and center because we don't want our money wasted like that. That's part of Doge. I'm going to post it on Doge Niagara. Go to that Facebook page. Keep up on what's going on. We have people posting stuff all the time there, telling us what's going on with the city and where they're wasting money. And I'm going to post that again so you can all see where they wasted our money last year. And they got another $200,000 they want to do the same with this year. It's a bunch of baloney. I'm going to explain it. I'm going to go through it. And then maybe somebody will get upset and say, come on, we got to do better. We need Doge. We need Doge. Gary Wilkins, we need Doge. My name is Paul K. Lemire. This is Your City, Your Voice. Coming to you live from the studios of 4680Q in the pouring rain. Look at Harold. He's getting soaking wet out there. Got his hood up, getting back to his car. It's a rainy day in Niagara Falls. April showers, Big May flowers. Don't forget to support our sponsors, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop, Pete's Pizza on Victoria Avenue, and Hamel Machine Company, because they support the show, they support the city. And anybody out there who wants a spot on here, wants to be a sponsor of the show, let me know. Give me a call, message me, because I'm still looking for one more sponsor, one more lucky business out there that can have me talk about them every day of the week. How nice. Your City, Your Voice. Paul K. Lemire. God bless you all. Have a great rest of the day. Get your slickers out. It's a little bit rainy out there. Talk to you tomorrow at noon, absolutely. And Thursday, Straight Talk Thursday. And then Good Friday, day off. I'm taking the day off on Good Friday. Well-deserved day off. It gets to be a thing doing this show every day. Have a great day.